Entrepreneurship. Complete summary for learning. Foundations and the ecosystem. Unit 1, Introduction to Entrepreneurship. Let's begin with the very foundation. The word entrepreneurship comes from the French word entreprendre, which simply means to undertake. At its core, entrepreneurship is the dynamic process of creating something new while accepting the risks and rewards that come with it. An entrepreneur is someone who takes the initiative to build, organize, and manage a business venture with the goal of earning profit while also contributing to the development of society. Now, three great economic thinkers shaped how we understand the entrepreneur. First, Joseph Schumpeter, writing in 1934, defined the entrepreneur as an innovator, someone who introduces new combinations into the economy. He gave us the famous idea of creative destruction, where new innovations replace old industries. Second, Peter Drucker said that the entrepreneur always searches for change, responds to it, and exploits it as an opportunity. Third, Richard Cantillon was actually the earliest person to use the term. He described the entrepreneur as a strategic risk bearer, someone who buys inputs at known prices but sells output at highly uncertain prices. What does an entrepreneur actually do? We can remember the core functions using the mnemonic ROIDS. R stands for risk-bearing, accepting financial and operational vulnerability in uncertain markets. O stands for organizing resources, bringing together land, labor, capital, and enterprise. I stands for innovation, introducing new products, processes, or markets. D stands for decision-making under uncertainty, making firm calls when the future is completely unknown. S stands for social responsibility and wealth distribution, contributing to community development and creating local jobs. Now, there are 5 main types of entrepreneurs. Think of the phrase in India, Fabians don't sprint to remember them. The innovative entrepreneur launches completely original concepts. A great example is Narayana Murthy, who founded Infosys. The imitative or adoptive entrepreneur copies successful business models from developed regions and adapts them. This type is especially valuable in developing economies like India. The Fabian entrepreneur is extremely cautious and traditional. They only change their ways when survival forces them to. The drone entrepreneur rigidly refuses any change whatsoever, even when suffering serious losses. The social entrepreneur is driven by a transformative social mission rather than profit. Amul and the Grameen Bank are classic examples. One more important distinction: how is entrepreneurship different from management? An entrepreneur creates something brand new, bears full personal financial risk, and works within fluid, unestablished structures. A manager, on the other hand, optimizes an existing enterprise, carries no personal financial risk, and works within established corporate hierarchies. Unit 2, the entrepreneurial ecosystem. An entrepreneurial ecosystem is the complex mix of social, economic, cultural, and institutional factors that collectively support the creation and growth of new ventures in a specific region. There are 6 core components. Remember them with the mnemonic FIMCR. F stands for finance, the availability of venture capital, seed funds, angel investors, commercial banks, and public government schemes. I stands for infrastructure, fast internet, reliable electricity, quality roads, and specialized industrial parks. M stands for markets, access to consumers, marketing channels, and international export linkages. P stands for policy and regulatory environment, favorable tax structures, simple compliance, and a high ease of doing business ranking. C stands for culture and social norms, public tolerance for failure, family support, and a healthy attitude toward calculated risk. R stands for research and education, the presence of technical universities like the IITs, management institutions like the IIMs, and business incubators. India has several important institutional support bodies. KVIC, the Khadi and Village Industries Commission, promotes cottage and traditional art industries in rural areas and provides credit and marketing support to rural artisans. NSIC, the National Small Industries Corporation, provides technology integration, market access, and credit assistance to small enterprises. SIDBI, the Small Industries Development Bank of India, is the apex financial institution for micro, small, and medium enterprises. It provides direct lending and refinancing to banks. NABARD, the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, focuses on financing rural businesses and agriculture. India also has two flagship national schemes worth knowing. Startup India was launched on January 16, 2016. To be eligible, a firm must be less than 10 years old from its date of incorporation, registered as a private limited company or a limited liability partnership, and have an annual turnover below 100 crore rupees. The benefits include a 3-year income tax holiday, patent filing support, and self-certification for labor and environmental laws. The Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana provides collateral-free loans of up to 10 lakh rupees for micro-enterprises, using a 3-tier framework. The Shishu tier covers loans up to 50,000 rupees for early-stage setups. The Kishore tier covers loans from 50,001 rupee up to 5 lakh rupees for expansion. The Tarun tier covers loans from 5 lakh and 1 rupee up to 10 lakh rupees for established entities. Dimensions and psychological competencies. Unit 3, Dimensions of Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship takes many different forms depending on the social and economic environment. Social entrepreneurship applies business strategies to achieve social, cultural, or environmental goals rather than pure profit. A brilliant case study is the Arvind Eye Care system in Madurai, which delivers world-class eye surgeries to millions of poor rural patients for free or at heavily discounted rates. This is funded through a cross-subsidy model. Wealthy patients who pay full price essentially subsidize the free surgeries for those who cannot afford them. Rural entrepreneurship refers to industrial or service operations based in non-urban areas. It uses local raw materials, generates sustainable employment, reduces mass urban migration, and preserves traditional village handicrafts through agro-processing. Technology entrepreneurship involves building scalable ventures centered on radical technological innovations such as artificial intelligence, enterprise software, or biotechnology. It relies heavily on platforms like IIT incubators and the national NASCOM 10,000 Startups initiative. Green entrepreneurship means building businesses around environmental sustainability, things like waste recycling, organic farming, and solar power. Green entrepreneurs aim to hit what is called the triple bottom line, or the 3 Ps: people, meaning social impact, planet, meaning environmental protection, and profit, meaning long-term financial viability. Regarding women entrepreneurship, women face several unique challenges. These include severe limits in accessing formal credit because they often lack property as collateral. They also face social resistance and deeply entrenched patriarchal family dynamics, restricted mobility and networking opportunities, limited access to business education, and intense work-life balance pressures. The government has responded with several targeted programs. The Stand Up India scheme mandates that bank branches must provide loans between 10 lakh and 1 crore rupees specifically to women entrepreneurs. The STEP program, which stands for Support to Training and Employment Program, provides skill training and employment support. The Stree Shakti package offers concessional loans through the State Bank of India. NABARD runs dedicated entrepreneurship training capsules. And the Udyam portal provides instant virtual advisory support. Unit 4, Entrepreneurial Competencies. Entrepreneurial competencies are the core cluster of skills, attitudes, and behaviors that reliably distinguish successful entrepreneurs from unsuccessful ones. The psychologist David McClelland gave us the three-need achievement motivation model. He identified three core human needs. The first is the need for achievement, abbreviated as KVIC. This is the dominant driving motive for successful entrepreneurs. It represents an intense urge to achieve excellence, master difficult tasks, set challenging goals, take well-calculated risks, and seek immediate concrete feedback on performance. The second is the need for affiliation, or NAF, the desire to maintain warm and secure interpersonal relationships. This tends to be lower or less critical in entrepreneurs, because tough business decisions can strain social ties. The third is the need for power, or NPOW, the urge to influence, lead, and control others. This is more commonly found in corporate executives and institutional leaders. Now, there are 10 core entrepreneurial competencies. The mnemonic is I Spirit type. I initiative, taking autonomous action before being told to. S sees and acts on opportunities, recognizing market gaps and moving quickly. P persistence, refusing to give up when confronting hurdles or failures. R information seeking, conducting deep research into customer trends and market dynamics. I information and network use, engaging with industry contacts to clear business paths. Q quality consciousness, demanding high standards in manufacturing and delivery. T taking calculated risks, balancing potential rewards against clear hazard metrics. I internal locus of control, the defining belief that outcomes are driven by your own actions, not luck. P persuasion and networking, convincing banks, partners, and clients to back your vision. And the final one, planning and goal setting, engineering detailed operational milestones. Two important distinctions to understand: locus of control. An entrepreneur with a strong internal locus of control firmly believes that their business outcomes are decided by their own choices, hard work, and strategies. They never blame fate or external forces for failures. Entrepreneur versus intrapreneur. An entrepreneur works entirely outside established systems to create a brand new entity from scratch, bearing full personal financial risk. An intrapreneur, on the other hand, operates inside an existing large corporation to design innovative products or ventures, and the financial risk is carried by the employer. For example, Sachin and Benny Bansal were entrepreneurs who built Flipkart. But the engineer who developed Gmail did so as an intrapreneur inside Google. Planning, research, and identification. Unit 5, Business Opportunity Identification. First, understand the difference between an idea and a business opportunity. An idea is simply a raw, unrefined thought. A business opportunity is a highly specific, commercially viable idea that has been vetted and proven to fit market realities. To evaluate whether something qualifies as a true opportunity, use the DATS criteria. D. Durable, it must be stable and sustainable over a long period, not just a passing trend. A. Attractive, it must have realistic potential to generate solid profit margins. T. Timely, it must fit the current market environment and consumer readiness right now. S. Scalable, it must have the capacity to grow beyond the initial operations of the founder. Where do business opportunities come from? Remember the mnemonic PETS. P. Problems, everyday frustrations that no one is solving. E. Emerging trends, new lifestyle shifts and evolving preferences. T. Technology changes, innovations that open doors to new service models. S. Social and demographic shifts, things like rising urbanization or an aging population. C. Customer complaints and gaps, areas where existing players are failing to deliver. When evaluating an opportunity, run it through 5 filters: Market metrics: what is the market size and growth rate? Competitive landscape: who are the competitors and what is our edge? Capital readiness: what funds and skills are required? Margin: feasibility: can the product be priced profitably? And legal compliance: are all licenses and permits obtainable? Unit 6, Market Research Process. Market research is the systematic process of collecting and analyzing data about your target customers, competitors, and the broader economy with the goal of minimizing operational risk. There are two main types of research. Primary research means collecting fresh, original data first-hand through direct surveys, depth interviews, focus groups, or field observations. It is highly accurate but time-consuming and expensive. Secondary research means analyzing data that has already been collected and published by third parties like government census records, Reserve Bank of India bulletins, or trade journals. It is fast and low cost, but can be outdated or too generic. There are also two types of data. Quantitative data focuses on numbers and statistics to reveal what is happening. Qualitative data covers opinions and motivations to reveal why it is happening. The 5 steps of market research can be remembered with the mnemonic BCOS185. D. Define the research problem, clarify exactly what information you need. P. Plan the research design, select your methodology, tools, and sample size. A. Acquire data, execute surveys, conduct interviews, or pull secondary records. C. Collate and analyze, organize data into tables and identify key trends. I. Interpret and report, draw actionable conclusions to guide decisions. The foundational marketing strategy framework is called STP. Segmentation means dividing a large market into distinct smaller groups based on geography, demographics, psychographics, or behavior. Targeting means choosing which specific segments to serve. Positioning means intentionally shaping how your brand is perceived in customers' minds relative to competitors. For example, Volvo positions around safety, and Apple positions around premium innovation. Unit 7, Business Plan Preparation. A business plan is a formal written document that details your business goals and maps out the strategies to achieve them. It serves as a roadmap for the founder, a fundraising tool for investors and banks, and a performance benchmark. The standard structure can be remembered with the mnemonic SMODFOLF. Executive Summary, a high-impact 1 to 2 page overview of the entire plan, covering the core idea, unique selling proposition, target customers, funding needs, and projected profitability. The most important rule: write it last, but place it first. S. Statement of business, the company's legal identity, history, vision, and mission statement. M. Market analysis, the target market segments, competitive landscape, and estimated market share. O. Organizational structure, the legal ownership format and the management team's experience. D. Description of product or service, features, specifications, and life cycle of the product. F. Financial plan, projected profit and loss statements, cash flow models, and the break-even point. O. Operations plan, manufacturing workflows, raw material logistics, and supply chain management. L. Location analysis, justification for the chosen factory or office site based on cost and logistics. F. Funding requirements, exactly how much capital is needed and how it will be deployed. Feasibility and implementation. Unit 8, Business Plan Feasibility. Before committing major resources to a venture, two key documents serve different purposes. A feasibility study is a fast, preliminary check conducted very early in the process. It answers the fundamental question: should we proceed with this business idea at all? It is a shorter document, around 20 pages, used internally by the promoters. A detailed project report, or DPR, is a deep, comprehensive blueprint engineered only after the feasibility study confirms the idea makes sense. It answers the question, how exactly do we execute this project step by step? It is a long document, often over 100 pages, packed with engineering blueprints, supplier quotes, human resource allocations, and detailed cash flows. This is the document required by commercial banks and institutions like SIDBI before sanctioning long-term credit. There are 5 types of feasibility analysis. Remember them with the mnemonic TEMFLOW. T. Technical feasibility: can we actually manufacture this product? Do we have the raw materials, production technology, and power capacity? E. Economic feasibility: will this venture generate a healthy return on investment over time? M. Market feasibility: is there clear, verified demand for this product among consumers? F. Financial feasibility: do we have the capacity to raise the required capital under realistic terms? L. Legal feasibility: does the operation fully comply with zoning laws, labor regulations, and pollution controls? Now let's understand break-even analysis. The break-even point, or BEP, is the precise volume of sales at which total revenues exactly equal total costs, meaning there is zero profit and zero loss. The formula is, break-even point in units equals total fixed costs divided by the contribution margin per unit. The contribution margin per unit is the selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit. Here is a worked example. Suppose total fixed costs are 1 lakh rupees. The selling price per unit is 100 rupees. The variable cost per unit is 60 rupees. The contribution margin is 100 minus 60, which equals 40 rupees. So the break-even point is 1 lakh divided by 40, which equals 2,500 units. This means the business must sell 2,500 units before it starts making any profit. Unit 9, Business Plan Implementation. Implementing a business plan involves 7 core operational milestones. First, legal registration and compliance, establishing the business entity as a proprietorship, partnership, LLP, or private limited company, and securing a corporate PAN number, activating your GST identification, and obtaining sector-specific licenses. Second, infrastructure setup, purchasing or leasing land, erecting factory premises, installing production machinery, and setting up utility grids. Third, financial arrangement, drawing down approved bank term loans and equity funds. Fourth, human resources, recruiting, onboarding, and training the core operational staff. Fifth, supply chain setup, executing agreements with dependable raw material vendors and establishing distribution logistics. Sixth, marketing launch, deploying sales networks, initiating distribution routes, and rolling out advertisements. Seventh, operations and monitoring, commencing full-scale commercial operations and tracking daily progress using key performance indicators, or KPIs. 3 key project management tools help track implementation. A Gantt chart is a horizontal bar chart that maps out the implementation schedule, showing planned versus actual timing for every milestone. It is essential for bank loan approvals. PERT, which stands for Program Evaluation and Review Technique, is a probabilistic scheduling method that uses 3 time estimates to manage complex, unpredictable projects. CPM, the critical path method, maps out the exact sequence of dependent tasks that determines the absolute minimum time required to finish the project. Any delay on the critical path instantly delays the entire business launch. Block 5, mobilizing financial and non-financial resources. Unit 10, startup initiatives. To qualify as an officially recognized startup under the DBI at the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, a business must meet 4 strict criteria. First, it must be incorporated in India as a private limited company, a partnership firm, or a limited liability partnership. Second, it must not be more than 10 years old from its official date of incorporation. Third, its total annual turnover must not exceed 100 crore rupees in any financial year since its launch. Fourth, it must be actively working toward innovation, development, or improvement of scalable products, processes, or services, and it cannot have been formed by splitting or restructuring an existing business. India has a rich national startup support ecosystem. The Atal Innovation Mission, managed through NITI Aayog, establishes Atal incubation centers and school-level labs to foster grassroots innovation. SIDBI Startup Mitra is a centralized online platform that connects founders with live incubators, funding schemes, and legal experts. iCreate is an international incubation center focused on deep tech and hardware ventures. Angel Networks and TIE are global mentoring networks that provide crucial seed capital and strategic advice to early-stage startups. Unit 11, Mobilizing Financial Resources. Let's compare two major sources of funding: venture capital and commercial bank loans. Venture capital involves an equity investment in exchange for an ownership stake. There is no obligation to repay the funds if the venture fails. No physical collateral is required. The VC firm actively provides strategic mentoring, networks, and governance. Venture capital is best suited to high-growth, innovative, scalable technology startups. A commercial bank loan is a debt instrument that must be repaid with interest over a fixed timeline regardless of business performance. Physical collateral or pledged assets are strictly required. The bank does not take shares or get involved operationally. Bank loans are better suited to established businesses with stable cash flows and physical assets. A helpful memory trick: venture capital says we expect profits someday through equity growth. A bank says we want money monthly through debt emis. The venture capital process follows 4 stages. First, deal sourcing, finding and filtering high potential startups. Second, due diligence, investigating the firm's financials, legal standing, and management. Third, the investment phase, finalizing valuation terms, signing term sheets, and releasing funds. Fourth, the exit stage, selling shares for profit after 5 to 7 years through an initial public offering or a strategic acquisition. Microfinance provides small, collateral-free loans and basic banking services to low-income individuals excluded from traditional banking. In India, this is driven by NABARD's self-help group bank linkage program. Self-help groups are small voluntary groups of 10 to 20 rural women who regularly pool their micro-savings. Once a group builds a solid savings record, commercial banks link with the group to provide bulk loans. The group then distributes and recovers these microloans among its members internally. Repayment rates are remarkably high because of peer support and collective responsibility. Unit 12, Mobilizing Non-Financial Resources. Non-financial resources are just as important as financial ones. Remember the mnemonic hint. H. Human resources, a team with the right technical skills, sales drive, and operational experience. I. Intellectual property, patents for innovations, trademarks for brand protection, and safeguarded trade secrets. And networks and relationships, connections with industry mentors, suppliers, and government channels. T. Technology and equipment, advanced machinery, enterprise software, and core production processes. There are several important institutional support structures. A business incubator supports early-stage ideas. It provides shared co-working office space, administrative support, and long-term mentoring over 1 to 3 years to help build a viable product. A business accelerator focuses on startups that already have a minimum viable product and are ready to scale rapidly. It is an intensive, time-limited program of 3 to 6 months that provides seed capital, intensive mentoring, and direct access to investor networks. A technology business incubator, or TBI, is a specialized incubator hosted inside premier academic institutions like IITs and NITs, funded directly by the Department of Science and Technology to turn scientific research into commercial products. Industrial clusters are geographic concentrations of interconnected businesses and suppliers within a single industry. For example, the Ludhiana bicycle cluster and the Tirupur textile cluster. Operating within a cluster allows small businesses to share specialized labor pools, enjoy lower logistics costs, and access shared technology insights. MSMEs, Family Business, and Case Studies. Unit 13, MSMEs and Economic Development. India revised its MSME classification in 2020. The new unified framework applies the same criteria across all industries, both manufacturing and services, based on two concrete metrics: investment in plant and machinery or equipment, and annual turnover. A micro-enterprise has an investment of up to 1 crore rupees and an annual turnover of up to 5 crore rupees. A small enterprise has an investment of up to 10 crore rupees and an annual turnover of up to 50 crore rupees. A medium enterprise has an investment of up to 50 crore rupees and an annual turnover of up to 250 crore rupees. A simple numerical shortcut: investment limits follow 1, 10, 50, while turnover limits follow 5, 50, 200, and 50, all in crore rupees. What is the macroeconomic role of MSMEs? Remember the mnemonic H. Employment. MSMEs are the second largest employer in India after agriculture, providing over 110 million stable jobs. D. Development of backward areas. They help industrialize rural and semi-urban areas, reducing regional economic imbalances. G. GDP and export contribution. They account for roughly 30% of total GDP and approximately 45% of national exports. E. Equitable distribution of income. They encourage widespread local entrepreneurship, preventing wealth from concentrating in a few large corporations. MSMEs also face significant challenges. Remember the mnemonic fact: F. Finance. Rigid collateral requirements and high interest rates block access to formal credit. A. Access to markets. Intense competition from multinational corporations and cheap imports. C. Capacity. Outdated machinery and low production efficiency. T. Talent. Difficulty attracting and retaining skilled employees due to budget limits. Key government schemes for MSMEs include the Udyam Registration Portal, a free, simplified online portal for MSME registration that replaced the old Udyog Aadhaar system. The CGTMSE, or Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises, provides commercial banks with government guarantees to back collateral-free loans of up to 2 crore rupees. The Samadhan portal allows MSMEs to directly log and resolve delayed payment disputes with large buyers. Unit 14, Family Businesses in India. A family business is one where ownership and strategic management are both actively controlled by members of one or more family units, with the clear intention of passing the business down across generations. Famous Indian examples include the Tata Group, Reliance Industries, Birla Group, and Bajaj. Family businesses have important advantages. Remember the mnemonic CLUTS. C. Commitment. Family members are deeply emotionally invested in the brand, often working longer hours for long-term survival. L. Long-term thinking. They prioritize sustainable, multi-generational growth over meeting short-term quarterly profit expectations. U. Unity and trust. High internal trust reduces legal friction and lowers monitoring costs. T. Tacit knowledge transfer. Critical business insights and core operational values are passed down naturally from parents to children. stability, their concentrated ownership structure makes them resilient against hostile corporate takeovers. However, family businesses also have serious structural vulnerabilities. Remember the mnemonic NECS. N. Nepotism, appointing family members to key roles based on birthright rather than professional merit. E. Emotional decision-making, letting internal family friction spill over into boardroom strategy. C. Conflict between generations, clashes between conservative founders and modern thinking successors. S. Succession planning failure. This is the root cause of the famous three-generation syndrome, sometimes called shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. The first generation builds the enterprise, the second maintains it safely, the third, born into privilege and lacking hunger, often runs it into the ground. To break this cycle, a family business must take 4 professionalization steps. First, recruit qualified non-family professional managers for key leadership positions. Second, build an independent board of directors filled with experienced external industry experts. Third, clearly separate personal family wealth from official corporate assets. And fourth, draft a formal family constitution, a legally guided document that outlines the rules for family employment, entry criteria, and succession plans. Unit 15, Success Stories and Core Traits. Let's close with 3 inspiring Indian entrepreneurship case studies. Narayana Murthy and Infosys. Murthy started his venture with just 10,000 rupees borrowed from his wife, operating from a small apartment, and went on to build a global information technology powerhouse. The core lessons from his journey are: ethical corporate leadership, transparent governance, heavy investment in human capital, and maintaining a clear long-term vision. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw and Biocon. She was India's first pioneering woman biotech entrepreneur. When she started out, commercial banks flatly rejected her loan requests, both because biotechnology was unproven and because she was a woman. Through absolute persistence, she built a global biopharmaceutical leader. The core lessons are: focus on high research and development niche markets, persist against social bias, and leverage technology to create widespread healthcare impact. Dr. Verghese Kurian and Amal. Known as the milkman of India, Kurian transformed dairy farming by pioneering the cooperative business model. The core lessons are: the ultimate masterclass in social entrepreneurship, empower local farmers, build strong cooperative supply chains, and create a trusted national brand to drive massive socio-economic development. What traits do all successful entrepreneurs share? Remember the mnemonic pivot. P. Persistence, navigating early rejections, bank refusals, and product failures without giving up. I. Innovation, finding creative ways to deliver value differently than the market. V. Vision, keeping a clear long-term strategic goal that guides every daily decision. O. Opportunity recognition, spotting massive market gaps that others completely overlook. T. Team building, surrounding themselves with talented, complementary professionals. Exam answer strategy. For a 10-mark question, use the 4-part layout. Part 1, worth 2 marks, provide a clear, formal academic definition of the concept. Part 2, worth 4 marks, detail the core features, stages, or challenges using one of the framework mnemonics such as ROIDS, TEMFLOW, EDGE, or CLUTS. Part 3, worth 2 marks, cite a specific Indian case study, institution, or government scheme such as Biocon, AML, CGTMSE, or the Mudra Yojana. Part 4, worth 2 marks, conclude with a strong definitive sentence highlighting the concept's long-term value to macroeconomic growth or business survival. For a 5-mark question, use the concise layout. Provide one sharp, direct definition sentence. Then list exactly 3 distinct, well-explained points. Finally, support your answer with one brief, relevant real-world example. This concludes the complete audio summary of BCOS 185 Entrepreneurship. Good luck with your studies. Here are the comprehensive, solved answers for the December 2024 BCOS 185 Entrepreneurship Term End Examination. Per the examination guidelines, you need to answer any 5 questions each carrying 20 marks total. Below are detailed, structurally optimized solutions designed to help you secure maximum points. Question 1. Discuss the role of entrepreneurship in the economic development of a nation. Explain the various models of entrepreneurship. 10 plus 10 marks. Part A. Role of entrepreneurship in economic development. 10 marks. Entrepreneurship serves as the primary engine for social and economic transformation within an economy. Its multidimensional role can be systematically analyzed using the EDGE framework. Employment generation. Entrepreneurship shifts a nation from a state of job seekers to job creators. Micro, small, and medium enterprises (MSMEs) represent the second largest employer in India after agriculture. By establishing new ventures, entrepreneurs absorb both skilled and unskilled local labor, directly lowering national unemployment rates. Development of backward regions. Entrepreneurs frequently set up industrial units in rural or semi-urban areas to leverage lower land costs and locally available resources. This disperses industrial growth away from overcrowded Tier 1 metros, balances regional disposable income, builds local infrastructure, roads, electricity, internet, and curbs forced urban migration. GDP expansion and export contribution. New ventures boost national output by producing novel goods and services. Increased productivity expands the gross domestic product (GDP) and strengthens national income via corporate tax generation. Furthermore, export-oriented entrepreneurial units tap into global markets, earning foreign exchange and improving the country's balance of trade. Equitable distribution of wealth and resource mobilization. Large corporate monopolies tend to concentrate economic power in a few corporate houses. Widespread entrepreneurship democratizes wealth by distributing business profits across small-scale founders, rural artisans, and local stakeholders. Additionally, it mobilizes idle public savings into active, productive market capital. Part B. Various models of entrepreneurship. 10 marks. Entrepreneurship adapts to different economic goals, socio-cultural contexts, and operational environments. The primary models include: 1. The innovation-driven model, Schumpeterian model. Core focus. This model rests on Joseph Schumpeter's theory of creative destruction. The entrepreneur introduces a radical breakthrough or a new combination of production factors that completely destroys old, inefficient market models. Example: Narayana Murthy establishing Infosys to pioneer global IT delivery models. 2. The imitative or adoptive model. Core focus, predominant in developing economies. This model involves copying, adapting, or refining successful business frameworks engineered in developed Western nations and customizing them to fit local infrastructure and purchasing power. Example: Indian ride-hailing or e-commerce platforms adapting the business blueprints originally created by global pioneers. 3. The social entrepreneurship model. Core focus, rather than maximizing personal financial profit, this model uses strategic business systems to tackle deep-seated social, cultural, or environmental issues. It prioritizes sustainable societal transformation while maintaining operational self-sufficiency. Example: Dr. Verghese Kurian establishing the Amul cooperative model to empower rural dairy farmers. 4. The corporate entrepreneurship model. Entrepreneurship. Core focus, innovation occurs inside the structural boundaries of an existing large enterprise. Employees are given the operational autonomy and budget resources to act like entrepreneurs to build new offshoot products or services. Example, an engineer developing a brand new application or service branch within a major technology firm like Google. Question 2. Why are creativity and innovation important for entrepreneurship development? Discuss various challenges involved in the process of creativity and innovation. Part A. Importance of creativity and innovation. Creativity is the cognitive ability to generate unique, unaddressed ideas, whereas innovation is the practical, commercial implementation of that creative thought into a market reality. They are vital to entrepreneurship for the following reasons: fostering competitive advantage, markets are saturated with established players. Creativity allows a new venture to discover a unique value proposition or an unaddressed niche, helping it stand out from competitors. Driving value creation and cost optimization, innovation doesn't just apply to final products, it transforms back-end operational processes. Process innovation enables firms to manufacture goods faster, eliminate supply chain waste, and pass savings to customers. Adapting to dynamic market changes, consumer preferences, lifestyle habits, and technological landscapes shift constantly. Continuous innovation ensures that an enterprise can pivot its business model before its core product becomes obsolete. Enabling scale and market expansion, creative entrepreneurs look beyond current operations to identify scalable opportunities, allowing them to expand across geographies and demographics. Part B. Challenges in the process of creativity and innovation. 10 marks. Transforming a raw creative thought into a commercialized innovation is highly complex and faces several key hurdles: financial constraints and high R&D costs. Innovation requires a significant upfront capital investment in research and development R&D with no guarantee of immediate returns. Early-stage startups often lack the spare cash flow to sustain prolonged testing phases. Market resistance and consumer inertia. Humans are naturally resistant to change. Launching a radically innovative product often requires extensive consumer education, as buyers may stick with familiar, inferior products out of habit. Organizational over-centralization and bureaucracy. Large corporate structures often stifle creativity through rigid operational rules, long approval hierarchies, and an intolerance for failure. If employees are penalized for mistakes, they stop sharing creative ideas. Lack of skilled human capital. Developing deep tech or advanced mechanical innovations requires highly specialized talent. A shortage of skilled workers can slow down the development of prototype designs. Inadequate intellectual property IP protection. If a nation's legal infrastructure cannot quickly secure patents or defend trademarks, larger competitors can easily copy the entrepreneur's creative concept and run them out of business. Question 3. Discuss various steps of the creative process with examples. B. Explain the critical components of the feasibility analysis of the business proposal. Part A. Steps of the creative process. The creative process is a structured sequence of psychological phases that leads to a breakthrough idea. It consists of 5 key steps: preparation, incubation, insight, illumination, evaluation, elaboration. Preparation. Data gathering. The entrepreneur identifies a core problem and intensively gathers information, reads research, reviews customer complaints, and analyzes current market gaps. Example: an engineer spends months studying urban traffic congestion data, public transit delays, and fuel waste metrics. Incubation. Subconscious processing. The individual steps away from the problem and shifts focus to unrelated tasks. The subconscious mind continues to organize the gathered information, drawing unusual connections behind the scenes. Example: the engineer stops actively calculating route data and goes on a long nature hike or plays a musical instrument. Insight. Illumination. The aha moment, the creative solution flashes into conscious awareness. This phase is sudden and temporary, often occurring when the mind is fully relaxed. Example, while resting, the engineer suddenly visualizes an AI-driven, decentralized dynamic traffic light pattern that adjusts in real time based on vehicle density. Evaluation feasibility verification, the raw insight is subjected to critical analysis. The entrepreneur tests whether the idea is practical, cost-effective, and aligned with market realities. Example, the engineer builds a quick software simulation to check if the traffic algorithm crashes under peak load volumes. Elaboration implementation, the verified idea is converted into a tangible reality. The entrepreneur drafts the blueprint, develops a working prototype, and showcases it to early users or investors. Example, deploying the traffic system as a pilot run across a few intersections in a local municipality. Part B, Critical Components of Feasibility Analysis. A feasibility study is a preliminary check conducted early in the entrepreneurial cycle to determine if a business idea should proceed. It relies on the TEM-FLOW framework. T. Technical feasibility, assesses whether the venture can physically produce the product. It checks the availability of raw materials, manufacturing technology, dependable electricity grids, and specialized engineering skills. E. Economic feasibility, analyzes whether the venture will generate a healthy, sustainable return on investment (ROI) over the long run. It maps the broader economic macro trends to ensure long-term viability. M. Market feasibility, verifies if there is clear, quantifiable consumer demand for the product or service. It measures the total target market volume, expected market share, and competitive landscape. F. Financial feasibility, focuses on the capital requirements of the business. It estimates total initial setup costs, identifies funding sources, equity versus bank loans, projects cash flows, and determines the break-even point. L. Legal feasibility, ensures the entire business proposal complies fully with national regulations. It checks municipal zoning laws, labor regulations, pollution controls, and tax compliance requirements. Question 4. Discuss the relevance of a business plan preparation in entrepreneurship with the help of examples. Explain the main components of the business plan. Part A. Relevance of a business plan preparation. A business plan is a formal written document that maps out a venture's operational, financial, and marketing strategies. Its relevance can be understood through three core roles: strategic blueprint and operational roadmap. It acts as a clear guide for the founder and management team, keeping daily operations aligned with long-term goals and preventing chaotic deviations. Example, a tech startup uses its plan to coordinate software development milestones alongside marketing campaigns, preventing the sales team from launching before the platform is ready. Crucial fundraising tool: venture capitalists, angel networks, and commercial banks require a formal business plan before offering capital. It demonstrates that the entrepreneur has vetted market risks and has a clear plan for profitability. Example, an artisan food brand uses detailed financial projections in its plan to convince a commercial bank to secure a loan for an industrial kitchen facility. Performance benchmark: it provides pre-established goals like projected monthly sales or customer acquisition costs that allow the business to measure its actual operational progress over time. Part B. Main components of a business plan. A standard, comprehensive business plan is organized using the SMOD-FOLF structure: executive summary, statement of business, market analysis. Funding, financials, operations and location, organizational structure. Executive summary, a concise, high-impact distillation of the entire document, highlighting the business concept, unique selling proposition (USP), and funding needs. Golden rule: placed first but written last. S. Statement of business, establishes the company's legal structure, e.g. LLP, private limited, lists corporate histories, and outlines the formal vision and mission statements. M. Market analysis, summarizes target market demographics, customer segmentation data, competitive landscape maps, and projected market share trends. O. Organizational structure, outlines the internal company hierarchy, profiles the core management team's experience, and defines department responsibilities. D. Description of product service, details the technical specifications, unique features, and customer benefits of the product line, along with its current life cycle stage. F. Financial plan, the financial backbone of the document, containing projected balance sheets, profit and loss statements, cash flow models, and break-even analyses. O. Operations plan, maps out daily manufacturing workflows, raw material logistics, inventory controls, and supply chain relationships. L. Location analysis, justifies the physical location of the factory, warehouse, or office based on cost, proximity to markets, and transport links. F. Funding requirements, details the exact amount of capital needed from investors or lenders and itemizes how it will be spent. Question 5. Explain the Startup India initiative along with its objectives. Discuss the major measures to support Start-UPS in India. Part B. Major measures to support Start-UPS in India. The Government of India has introduced several key support mechanisms across financial, regulatory, and infrastructural domains to assist early-stage ventures. 1. Simplified regulatory compliance and self-certification. Startups can self-certify compliance across 9 core labor laws and 3 environmental regulations through a mobile app. This removes stressful on-site inspections during their first 3 to 5 years of operation. 2. Substantial tax exemptions. Income tax holiday. Recognized startups can apply for a 100% tax rebate on profits for 3 consecutive financial years within their first 10 years of operation. Angel tax relief, simplifies rules regarding investments made by angel funds, preventing unfair tax claims on early-stage investments. 3. Intellectual property IP protection and fast tracking. The government has set up specialized patent links to fast-track startup patent evaluations. Startups also receive an 80% discount on patent filing fees and a 50% rebate on trademark registrations. 4. The Fund of Funds for Startups FFS. The government established a dedicated corpus managed through SIDBI. This fund doesn't invest in startups directly, instead, it provides capital to SIDBI registered alternative investment funds, boosting the venture capital ecosystem. 5. Incubator infrastructure networks. Platforms like the Atal Innovation Mission aim set up state-of-the-art incubation hubs and labs across academic institutions to offer early-stage startups physical space, mentorship, and equipment. Question 6. Explain the non-financial resources for an entrepreneur. While securing financial capital is vital, an enterprise cannot survive or scale without non-financial assets. These core elements can be remembered using the HINT framework. 1H Human resources. The talent capital. Human resources encompass the collective skills, domain expertise, sales drive, and operational experience of the company's core team. Founding and execution alignment. An entrepreneur needs a balanced team where team members' skills complement each other, e.g. a technical developer paired with an experienced sales manager. Organizational culture. Cultivating shared values, grit, and adaptability ensures the workforce remains committed during early market volatility. 2. Intellectual property IP and knowledge assets. Intellectual property protects an entrepreneur's unique innovations, preventing competitors from copying them. Patents, grants exclusive rights over novel technological hardware or software systems. Trademarks, protects brand identity, logos, and catchphrases, building long-term customer trust and market recognition. Trade secrets, protects specialized internal methodologies, back-end source codes, or recipes that give the business a unique market advantage. 3N networks, relationships, and social capital. An entrepreneur operates within a broader business ecosystem and relies heavily on external relationships, mentorship networks. Access to experienced industry veterans provides guidance, helping founders avoid costly operational mistakes. Vendor and supply chain alliances, developing high-trust relationships with raw material suppliers ensures priority access to stock, better credit terms, and reliable delivery schedules. Customer relationships, building an engaged early community creates word-of-mouth marketing and provides valuable feedback to refine the product. 4T technology, equipment, and physical infrastructure. Physical and digital infrastructure provide the baseline capability to deliver value, advanced machinery, specialized tools that lower production costs and improve product quality. Digital tools and enterprise software, relying on tools like CRM platforms or inventory software boosts back-end efficiency. Industrial clusters, operating inside a geographic hub of related businesses give small enterprises access to shared transport logistics and specialized labor pools. Question 7. Explain the role of MSMEs in entrepreneurship development in India. Discuss different initiatives of the government to promote MSMEs in India. Part A. Role of MSMEs in entrepreneurship development. Micro, small, and medium enterprises MSMEs are the backbone of India's economy. Their role can be analyzed through the EDGE framework, employment creation at low capital costs. MSMEs are the second largest employer in the country after agriculture, creating over 110 million jobs. They generate jobs with significantly lower initial capital investments compared to large public factories. Development of localized grassroots skills. MSMEs provide an entry point for rural artisans, women, and local workers to hone practical business and technical skills. This builds a foundational culture of self-reliance across non-urban regions. GDP expansion and export-based growth. MSMEs account for approximately 30% of India's total GDP and drive nearly 45% of overall national exports. They act as a testing ground for specialized niche products that feed into global supply chains. Equitable income distribution. By spreading industrial operations across Tier 2, Tier 3, and rural sectors, MSMEs prevent the concentration of wealth within a few urban conglomerates, supporting balanced economic growth. Part B. Government initiatives to promote MSMEs. To help MSMEs overcome operational challenges like financial limits and market access, the government has launched several key platforms. One UDYM registration portal. Launched in 2020, this is a fully digital, paperless, and free registration portal integrated with tax databases. It provides MSMEs with a permanent registration number, making it easier to qualify for priority bank sector lending and government subsidies. 2 CGTMSE Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. This initiative addresses the challenge of securing formal credit. The trust provides commercial banks with government-backed guarantees to cover collateral-free loans up to 2 crore rupees for micro and small businesses, reducing lending risks for banks. 3 MSME Samadhan Portal. MSMEs often face severe cash flow issues due to delayed payments from large corporate buyers. The Samadhan portal allows registered MSMEs to directly log payment disputes. The buyer must pay interest on delayed payments if they exceed 45 days. 4 Aspire and SFRD schemes. Aspire, focuses on setting up technology business incubators and livelihood accelerators to drive agribusiness entrepreneurship across rural areas. SIDBI organizes traditional rural artisans and cottage industries into geographic clusters to provide them with modern machinery and boost collective productivity. Question 8. Write explanatory notes on any two of the following: A. Techniques of idea generation, B. Entrepreneurial ecosystem, C. Mudra Yojana, D. Sources of business idea. A. Techniques of idea generation. Idea generation is a structured process used to create a high volume of diverse concepts before filtering them down into a viable opportunity. The primary techniques include brainstorming, a group creativity technique where individuals share ideas in a non-judgmental environment. The goal is to maximize the quantity of ideas. Criticism is strictly banned to ensure thoughts flow freely. Mind mapping, a visual diagramming technique centered around a single core keyword or problem. Team members branch outward to connect related subcategories, tasks, and creative solutions visually. Scamper technique, a structured checklist approach that prompts teams to transform an existing product by asking 7 questions, substitute components, combine functions, adapt elements, modify features, put to another use, eliminate waste, and reverse structures. Focus groups, bringing together a small group of target consumers led by a facilitator to discuss their needs and experiences, revealing unaddressed market opportunities. B. Entrepreneurial ecosystem. An entrepreneurial ecosystem refers to the collective combination of social, economic, cultural, and institutional forces that interact within a region to nurture the launch and growth of new ventures. Its components are structured around the FIMCAR framework: finance F, access to seed funds, commercial banks, angel networks, and venture capital. Infrastructure I, specialized industrial parks, reliable electric grids, fast internet, and transport networks. Markets M, access to an active customer base and robust international export channels. Policy P, favorable tax structures, simplified corporate compliance, and an easy business setup process. Culture C, a society that tolerates failure, supports calculated risks, and respects independent careers. Research and education are premier technical and management universities that provide cutting-edge research and business incubation facilities. C. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Launched by the government, the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana provides collateral-free loans up to 10 lakh rupees to micro-enterprises and small non-corporate businesses to support financial inclusion. It operates using the SKT tier framework based on the growth stage of the business. Shisha Baby tier covers early-stage business setups with loans up to 50,000 rupees. Kishora Teenager tier targets semi-established ventures looking to expand, offering loans from 50,001 to 5,000,000 rupees. Tarun Adult tier focuses on fully established micro-entities requiring significant capital, providing loans from 5,000,001 up to 10,000,000 rupees. D. Sources of business ideas. Entrepreneurs discover viable business opportunities by looking across internal and external environments. The primary sources can be tracked using the PET-C model: P. Unaddressed consumer problems, everyday bottlenecks, inefficiencies, or frustrations that customers face but no current market player is solving. E. Emerging macro trends, shifts in lifestyle choices, health habits, or consumer values that create entirely new demands. T. Technology changes, breakthrough technological developments like cloud computing or automated machinery that instantly unlock modern service opportunities. S. Social and demographic shifts, structural population adjustments, such as rapid urbanization or an aging demographic, that create new consumer needs. See customer complaints and competitor gaps, directly observing areas where current industry leaders are failing to deliver quality service or support, allowing a new business to capture that market share.